The commission is reconvened. La commission reprend.
Jeffrey Leon, co-lead Commission Counsel. The next witness is Patrick King, and he is here with his counsel, Natasha Calvino.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Ms. Calvino.
Thank you for having me. I am counsel for Mr. King on his criminal charges. As I'm sure the commission is aware, my client is still facing a number of criminal charges there's a publication ban on, and there's trial dates have been set, and they're currently still before the courts. Mr. King is here today as he was compelled to by virtue of his subpoena, and he has answered to that subpoena. He invokes his protections under the Canada Evidence Act and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms vis-a-vis his evidence. We consider his response to questions put to him to be compelled statements or compelled answers for any future proceeding. We are here, and we understand the parameters of the commission, and there are quite tight time constraints on the information needing to come out and witnesses needing to be called. But that having been said, late yesterday we received, less than 24 hours before the hearing, 127 individual items and 2,460 individual pages of material. Mr. King is anxious to respond to his subpoena and offer his evidence. He and I have done our level best to get through the materials. There may become a point in time where he may need some guidance from me, or we might need a bit of time to review something, because we've done the best that we can, but we weren't able to get through all of it. And I would ask for the court's or the commission's indulgence if we get to that point, but I hope we don't, and Mr. King is available to testify. Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, thank you. Yes, understand about the subpoena and the protections. That's obviously provided, and we do appreciate that it is sometimes challenging to deal with the documentation. I think you would have a lot of sympathy from the parties and the Commission Council, so I understand that, and we've been very accommodating as required. And certainly if there's something, please provide some sort of an indication and we can sort it out.
Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. King,
He has to be
Sorry.
sworn.
Mr. King, will you swear on a religious document, or do you wish to affirm?
I'd like to swear on a Bible, please.
For the record, please state your full name and spell it out.
Full name is Patrick James King, Patrick-James-King.
Do you swear that the evidence to be given by you to this commission shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Absolutely, so help me God.
Thank you.
Mr. King, just to follow on what your counsel has just said, if at any time during my questioning you need time to review a document, don't hesitate to ask.
Thank you.
And I'm going to be asking you questions to give you an opportunity to explain to the Commissioner your involvement in the Freedom Convoy, and also to give you a chance to respond to some of the evidence that's been led before the Commission. I'd like to start with your background. I understand you were born in Sault Ste. Marie.
That's correct, yes.
And how long did you live there?
Till I was 18.
And then where did you go?
I moved out to Alberta where there was work, and I've been living in Red Deer, Alberta ever since.
And what sort of work do you do?
Oh boy, I started out 22 years oil and gas, worked my way up from a roughneck all the way up to a driller, to a frontline supervisor, to a flow completions specialist. And then I went back to university and I got my degree in occupational health, safety, and environment, 3-year degree from the University of Alberta. From there, I took a position as a health and safety manager, admin, and I would look after upstream oil and gas manufacturing. And I was a H2S instructor, I drove truck. I had Class 1 driver's license, oversized loads. I also have a course, certificate as a logistics coordinator and a dispatcher.
Thank you. Now, your counsel has indicated that you have been charged with criminal offenses, and I understand that a condition of your bail is that you are not allowed to use social media. Is that correct?
I'm not allowed to do anything. I've had absolutely every right of a Canadian citizen stripped of me. My freedom of speech, my freedom of protest, my freedom of everything.
So am I correct, you can't use social media?
No, you are absolutely correct.
Thank you. So I'd like to ask you about your use of social media prior to your being charged in the latter part of February 2022. So if we can talk about the period, let's say 2019 to March 2022, what kinds of social media did you use?
Facebook, Instagram, that's it. I would never go on Twitter. That's a troll site. That's a joke. But Facebook and Instagram.
TikTok?
Just to watch it.
YouTube?
Oh, I had YouTube, but around the time that Donald Trump was being elected, I actually hold a title. Only him and myself are the only ones who have ever been banned from using any Google product. So I would never promote YouTube.
And I understand you had a large following on social media. Is that correct?
Can you define large?
Well, how big was your following?
It was big.
Can you define big?
It was international. It was big.
Okay. 100,000, 200, 300, 400,000?
That all depends on Facebook's algorithms, what they really say. But on my website and on my Facebook page, about 500,000 people.
Thank you. And I understand on Facebook you would host live events. Is that correct?
I would do podcasts and I would do media. And I'd catch interactions in real time for basically just to show it in reality, and not some distorted mainstream media view. I'd show you what it was like in the real time.
And I understand in 2019 you were involved in a convoy called United We Roll.
Yes,
Is
sir.
that correct?
Yes, sir.
And that was a protest over some oil and gas issues?
That was a protest over Bill C-69 and C-48, which is the anti-pipeline and the anti-harbor moratorium, of which, when we came to Ottawa, we were successful. They reopened all the contracts after. And actually, since I've been incarcerated, as of June 2022, both those bills have been scrapped because they've been deemed unconstitutional. And Alberta finally got our pipelines, and we're finally back to work again.
And that convoy traveled from, was it Red Deer to Ottawa?
Red Deer, Alberta, yeah. We left on February 14th, and we like to deem it as the love of our country. On Valentine's Day, we left to stand up for our rights and exercise our democratic right to a freedom of peaceful assembly, to exercise our democratic right to a freedom to protest, and to have our voices heard by the government.
And who led that convoy?
I was in the pilot truck myself and another person by the name of Angie Reed. Love you, Angie. Glenn Carrott was involved, along with, he drove OP 22, or OP, the fire truck. We brought a fire truck. He was an oil and gas fire suppression unit.
How many vehicles were in the convoy?
When it got to Wellington, we had about 170, 178, I believe.
Okay. Was Mr. Bowder involved in that convoy?
Involved in what way?
Was he part of it?
Sure.
What was his involvement?
Fellow Canadian exercising his democratic right to protest.
Was he part of organizing it?
No.
Okay, so I'd like to, and so when you got to Ottawa, how long were you there?
We arrived, I believe it was the 19th of February. We protested the 20th and 21st, and then we left that following Monday.
And you went back to Red Deer?
Yep. But I'd like to say that we left because the politicians acknowledged why we were there. They came out and said, we hear you, we're here to support you, and we will back you, and we will do everything we can to try and get your issues heard.
Okay, now I'd like to come to your involvement in the Freedom Convoy, if I could. Sorry, just. Trying to keep track of the time, but I won't. Doesn't seem to be working. How did you first get in? How did you first get involved in the Freedom Convoy?
Well, I'd already been social media. I'd already been doing my stuff that I always do, and I had happened to see some people that were talking about the trucking industry and how they were about to be affected. And I know that our truckers here in Canada are the backbone of the economy in Canada. They move the freight. Their importance is very under, basically they're forgotten. They're kind of, yeah, they're a trucker, whatever, a trucker. But I knew the importance that if you stopped the trucking industry within 72 hours, you'll be brother on brother for a loaf of bread. And when they started to hit the truck drivers, and these guys have already been working diligently throughout this nonsense, we've seen it as a direct attack against the Canadian economy. And not only a direct attack against the Canadian economy, but a direct attack to truckers are the guys that want to be left alone. They want to work in their trucks. They want to go do their job independently. Leave us alone. We won't create a stir. We won't cause a problem. We'll pay our taxes. And felt like they needed a voice.
Did somebody contact you and ask you to get involved?
Nope.
What did you do to get involved?
Well, I reached out to a few people and I asked if they'd like to, let's talk about it.
Who did you reach out to?
I reached out to Chris Barber, Bridget Belton. I reached out to, basically them, those two. And I said, I'd love to have you on my show. And I really think what you guys are wanting to do, I can be an asset because I've done this before back in 2019 and I can help you out in any way possible.
And am I correct that you then had a Facebook Live event on January, was it 13, 2022?
If that's the date that you have, yes.
And as you, Mr. Barber, Ms. Belton, and I understand James Bowder were all on part of that.
That's correct, yeah.
And
I gotta say there's people involved, but I've had my social media stripped. I've had all my videos gone. I can't recollect who was all there, but that sounds very close to who was there. I think there were some other people that were involved too. I think Dave Steenberg was one. There was a couple, I think Joe Jensen was one. There was a few people, yeah.
And during that event, you talked about the plan for a freedom convoy with those people who were with you?
Well, we had thrown the idea around. We had said, you guys really want to do this? And they're like, yeah, we should do this. And I said, okay, well, I'll do everything I can to help you. I'll give you the platform. I'll give you the voice. I'll not allow, but I'd like to help you because I see what you're doing is absolutely prophetic. Finally, the hardworking, blue-collared people of Canada were going to stand up.
And was this the first time you'd met Mr. Barber and Ms. Bilton?
Yeah.
And my information was you had about 3,000 viewers to that event. Does that sound right?
If that's what you have a number, sure. I was never concerned about the numbers. I could have 2 people in the room and it didn't matter.
And have you told us why you decided to get involved with the Freedom Convoy based on the statement you just made?
The reason I did it was basically I have gone through my own issues with these mandates, and I have my own stance and my own beliefs on these mandates and what they're doing. And now I want everybody to remember a mandate is not a law. And they were pushing this, and I finally found people that didn't want it pushed on them anymore.
And what did you understand was the goal of the Freedom Convoy?
To go and protest and exercise your democratic right to a freedom of peaceful protest, to a freedom of assembly, to exercise your voice and be heard by politicians of your concerns and your, basically your agitation with the way things are being controlled.
And later in January, the 21st, did you have another video stream that involved Tamara Litch, Chris Barber, James Bowder, and others? You call that?
You bet.
And I understand there was a general discussion of what was going to happen with the Freedom Convoy?
Yes, there was a discussion. It was basically like so organic, like how are we going to do this? Who's going to do what? Who's going to be doing this? Who's going to be doing that? I basically was a platform for these people to be able to like show who they are.
And by this time, do you know if anyone in that group had contacted any members of a police force to tell them that this was going?
Yeah. James Bowder bragged about how he had Ottawa around his little finger, that he had all the police and he had all the connections. And I was like, is that the same connections of when we did the United We Roll? And he's like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay. So I reached out because I have a rapport with PPS. I've traveled around Canada protesting and speaking on public platforms. And I've basically set a good communication between these officers. So I reached out to these officers and said, we're looking at bringing another convoy to Ottawa. Remember me? And they're like, oh yeah, we remember you, Pat. I'm like, it's good, right? I'm like, oh yeah, you're always great when you're here.
And you had some of those, at least one of those officers, on your stream that night.
But we had a few officers, yeah, they were on our streams, yes.
And discussing safety issues and that.
Absolutely, safety's number one. Like your rules of the road and all that. And they knew who I was. They knew how we had organized the 2019 convoy, and they knew how absolutely law-abiding and professional that we were.
And you traveled to Ottawa with the western leg of the convoy?
Yes, sir.
And what type of vehicle were you driving?
I wasn't driving. I had somebody who was driving our motorhome, and I sat passenger in the motorhome.
And where did you join up with the convoy?
I joined up with the main convoy in Calgary.
Now, Clerk, can you please bring up HRF 401221? This is a chronology of events that was put together by the group of convoy organizers and is now an exhibit in these proceedings. And it's a timeline of events from their perspective. And I want to ask you about a few entries that refer to you. We can go to the bottom of page 2, please. You see there, January 24, Chris Barber and Tamara Leach meet, and then concerns Pat King expressed. And Tamara and Chris discuss concern about Pat King after viewing a tweet with a video making reference to bullets. Chris agreed perhaps Pat should be sent home, but there was concern about the trucks Pat brought with him. Talked to Pat about the tweet, and he stated the video was an old one about an issue on a reserve and had been heavily edited to make it appear as though it was regarding the convoy. Following captain's meeting, everyone expressed concern about Pat King's involvement, and the decision was made to talk to Pat about in the coming days and request he not attend in Ottawa. Do you remember that conversation?
No, I do not.
Do you deny it happened?
Yes. I'm not the one. They're discussing their concerns.
That wasn't what I asked you. I'm saying, did the conversation happen, sir?
No. The conversation came up of, hey, there's a tweet out there. I said, don't worry about it.
Okay, can we go to page 3 of this document?
I'd like to give a little bit of an explanation there. The explanation is I have been absolutely harassed. I've been absolutely defamed, character assassination by a certain group, and they edit videos and they cut and splice and they take 10 seconds here and they blow it out of proportion. And I've been dealing with this for years.
I will give you an opportunity. I'm going to show you some of the videos, and I'll give you an
absolutely. I
opportunity
can't wait.
to comment on them.
I've been waiting for years to tell you guys how these videos are.
So on page 3, you'll see under January 26, concerns Pat King raised. Pat King was on the radio annoying others, had tried to pull in.
I was in the front. And when I got to Thunder Bay, I sat for 2 hours directing everybody into their parking spots. And I told everybody that I was leaving for Terrace Bay. We're at a fuel stop and meals and basically a rest stop for everybody. And that's where I was going.
And if you can bring up, Mr. Clerk, HRF 50646. And again, this is a document that's been provided by the Freedom Convoy. And it appears to be a summary of a conversation between you and Tamara Leach. Do you recall having a conversation with Ms. Leach on January 28th?
Yep.
And did she request that you not attend in Ottawa?
No. What was happening is we were at a rest stop. I said, oh my God, this has gotten big. I said, I'm getting death threats. and I might need security when I'm in Ottawa. And I said, this got way bigger. And I may have said this little part here where about the organizing thing, but then I checked myself right away and I realized Tamara said, whoa, it's not all about you. And I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Okay.
But that comment at the bottom, check your fucking ego, that never happened.
Thank you. Now, you proceeded on to Ottawa.
Absolutely.
Now, were you familiar with an organization called Adopt a Trucker program? Or a program, Adopt a Trucker?
Yep.
And can we put up, please, COM 50571? And you'll see at the top, can you just go that? It says Adopt a Trucker campaign created by Chris Guerra. Do you know Mr. Guerra?
I do, yes.
And if you scroll a little further up, no, sorry, down. In the first line there, you'll see it says towards the end, we are endorsed by Pat King and Canada Unity. Did you endorse this campaign?
I endorsed everybody.
Did you endorse this campaign by Adopt a Trucker?
Endorsed by, what do you mean by endorsed? Can you explain?
Did you support it and publicize it?
Absolutely, yeah.
And who asked you to get involved in this?
They were just a group that we had asked for people to, in the Ottawa area, that community who wanted to help. Adopt a Trucker was, you would take a trucker and basically bill it, like billeting. So if you remember hockey, when you'd go to tournaments, you would stay with a billet. So people were offering up their homes for truckers to come have showers. There was food and whatever they needed and necessities. Chris and their group were going to look after I don't know how you say it, the care and well-being of truckers who didn't have a place to stay, like didn't have money for hotels, or we were trying to reduce costs for lodgings.
And I take it, in this sense, you were in demand because of your large social media following to put your name to things like the Freedom Convoy, like the Adopt a Trucker.
It happens a lot. A lot of people like to, use my platform, and I'm okay with it, and I do it on purpose. I absolutely invite it.
And
a lot of people use my name and my platform to gain attention for their cause. And I'm absolutely 100% agreeable to that. I think everybody has a right to have their say and get their point across, and I never hold a bias. So I make sure that everybody use it, take my platform, do what you can.
And if I can ask you, did you have your own group as part of this convoy that came with you?
I was a road captain for, I believe it was the northern part of Alberta. So I took on the responsibility for those people that were part of our initial jump from Red Deer to Calgary and then onwards to Ottawa.
And can you estimate how many trucks were in that group?
Oh boy. When we left Red Deer, there was about 50 of us. But once I found out further on, we tried to get people to sign the documents and everything in Calgary, and it turned out to be about 148, if I'm not mistaken, that I was responsible for. I guess responsible, but taking care of their paperwork.
And you arrived in Ottawa on January 29?
Yes, sir.
And
No, we arrived in Arnprior.
I see.
And from there, I'll never forget it. It was the most elating moment of my life, where I can pass them off to Andrew and say, they're your problem now.
Where did you go? When did you get to Ottawa? What date?
I got to Ottawa that night once everybody got to Arnprior. I left and I said, I'm done. I'm going into town. I'm going to get my hotel room. And I went to my hotel. And
What hotel did you stay at?
one of the ones downtown. Holiday Inn on, I believe, Albert. I'm not sure.
And what did you do with your vehicle?
I never had a vehicle.
So how did you get to the Holiday Inn?
We dropped the motorhome off at a secure location, and we had people give us a ride into the hotel.
And at one point, were you involved with a group at Confederation Park?
Nope.
Now, I want to move forward to February 12th. And on that date, did you learn that an agreement had been reached with the mayor of Ottawa to move trucks out of residential areas and onto Wellington Street?
I heard that was the plan.
And who did you hear that from?
Just from other road captains and people that were I don't know, people who thought they had a role in this and were a voice and could make calls, I guess, if you say like make calls, like they were told something and passed it on to the block captains, and then the block captains would pass it on to their drivers.
And so, did you agree with that idea?
Sure, whatever you want. I was here to help in any way they needed me.
Mr. Clerk, could you put up a video? It's COM 50881. And I understand this is a video you published on YouTube.
I don't have
February
YouTube.
13th.
I wouldn't have put it on YouTube. I don't have YouTube.
Well, let's see if it's you.
Other people can post things on YouTube.
Hey guys, we got a quick one out here for you all right now. Just been informed that while the counter protesters were involved, there were groups of them going around giving letters out saying that the convoy needs to move. They made an agreement. It's a lie. It's a lie. Break, 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 break. Get this out everywhere. Get this to every person out there. Just come down from the top. They've gone out and spread letters to the truckers. Truckers, in your trucks, do not move. Do not leave. There is no letter going out. There is no letter going around. This was part of the counter protesters shit. What they did, it's all a lie. Do not leave Ottawa. Do not back your trucks out. Do not leave the residential areas. You are good to go. Stand your ground. That's it. That's all. Stand your ground. Stand your ground. Hold the line, you guys. Counter protesters went out. They passed out letters. They acted like they knew what was going on. They acted like they knew what was happening, and they acted like participants in this. They weren't. It was part of the counter protest. Do not believe it. Ladies and gentlemen, the more people that I find in these chats, that I see these rumors that are saying that everybody was told to leave, everybody was told to walk, and that they're leaving, then when I catch your little chats and the conversations as I go through them, I will be blocking you. You will be banned from the page. I'm done with the rumors. I'm done with the bullshit. Everybody needs to get this message out right away. Do not read that letter. That letter is a false flag letter. They're trying to use the counter protesters to push you out. Hold the line. Hold the line.
Thank you.
100%.
Now, do you remember?
I remember that there was a lot of stuff going on at that moment. We were, you said this was February 12th?
I believe so.
I believe that this was also at the same time that the community had organized their own counter protest. Actually, Miss Catherine McKinney, the council member of Ottawa, encouraged people to come out and counter protest. And they were leaving leaflets and things on trucks. So we couldn't determine whether or not these were true documents or not. So I put out this post because it wasn't confirmed. And there was no letterhead, there was no signature, there was no notoriety of who it came from. So I would assume that if the city council or Ottawa was going to make this leaflet and pass it out, somebody would have put their name on it to give it some clout, to give it some importance. Later on, we found out that these were asked to move, and then we said, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Can you put up HRF 401285? Now, I understand this was the leaflet that was passed around. You see it's dated February 12th from Tamara Leach. Speaks to a freedom manifest and has the Freedom Convoy symbol on it. And can you scroll, please? And you'll see there, the last two paragraphs, it talks about repositioning the trucks, and we'll plan to start repositioning on Monday to consolidate the protest. Now, that the document you saw?
I never saw this, no.
What, do you remember what the document looked like that you did see?
It was a leaflet from the mayor or something like that. I might be confused on this. I've never seen this.
Okay. Now, while you were in Ottawa, were you involved with a group of trucks that went out to the airport?
Yep.
And you did slow rolls around the airport?
We went for a ride, yeah.
Well, how long were you at the airport?
An hour, 2 hours.
And were you doing slow rolls around the airport?
We were abiding by the law, by the rules of the road. We did the speed limit. We did not impede emergency traffic. We just went for a cruise.
What was the purpose in your going?
We were bored.
I'm sorry?
We were bored.
And that you found interesting?
We went for a ride to see what Ottawa was like, to see.
Well, you spent 2 hours at the airport seeing what Ottawa was?
Well, to see what the airport was and just go for a drive. We were bored. It was cold.
Do you recall speaking to Tom Marazzo before you went?
I've talked to Tom many a times.
And did he have somebody accompany you to make sure what you were doing went okay?
No. Not that I know of.
And did you, by doing what you were doing there, how many trucks were there?
I don't know. All of them.
All of what?
All of the trucks that were there. I don't know.
How many came with you?
They were all passenger vehicles. They were all
I see.
cars.
And
There was never a commercial vehicle with us.
Okay, and how many cars came with you?
I don't know, 30, 40, maybe.
And while you were doing what you were doing at the airport, would you agree with me that you slowed down other vehicles from accessing the airport?
No, I do not. There's when you're going to the airport, there's 2 lanes. When you go into arrivals and departures, there's 2 lanes. We used 1 lane. We were in the 1 lane, and there was always a lane open. So anybody who wanted to go in, they could have used the other lane.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can you put up HRF 26083? And this is, again, sorry, can you scroll the other way? You'll see it's on the Freedom Convoy letterhead, February 17th, reaffirming its commitment to peaceful demonstration. And if we go to look at the second paragraph, we do not support any form of hateful rhetoric, divisive comments, or calls for violence. We explicitly condemn anything of that nature. So let us be clear, we are a peaceful and lawful demonstration. We have heard about inappropriate comments being made by Pat King. Pat King does not speak for us. We expressly condemn any talk of violence from him or others. Pat King has the right, like every other Canadian citizen, to protest peacefully. And you remember seeing this?
Never saw it, but I heard about it. I knew about it.
And do you know what they're referring to when they say?
Well, the reason is, and I'm going to say it straight up, and I'm going to have to give a little bit of a brief background to this. I've been chasing the government and exposing a lot of stuff of the overreach, the financial and economic hardships that have been happening. I have in my possession the document of the non-disclosure agreement between a young juvenile and a certain specific member of parliament. And when doing so, exposing also the $42 billion infrastructure project that was stolen out of Alberta's hands and handed over to the Chinese government, and the implementation of Chinese soldiers on Canadian soil. I have been absolutely harassed and degraded and defamed and discredited and character assassinated. And these guys were getting attacked because of me. So when they put this out, I get it. They had to push me out and look at everybody, and we don't want anything to do with packing. I actually absolutely encouraged it, 100%. Put it out there that I don't have anything to do with this. Put it out there. GoFundMe wouldn't release their funds. GoFundMe directly contacted them and said, we're not going to release your funds if Patrick King's involved.
So do you know
this is how much Target, like how much they're out to make sure that everything that I touch is ruined.
So do you know what they're referring to when they say talk of violence, inappropriate comments? Did you talk about violence?
Not at all.
Did you make any inappropriate comments?
Not at all. Well, maybe. I'm kind of a hothead. I kind of talk too much sometimes, and I get that honestly by my mom. She's got the gift of the gab.
You recall that in Ottawa there was a lot of honking, right?
Oh, yeah.
And were you involved in that honking?
How? I didn't have a vehicle there. I didn't have a truck. What horn can I honk?
And what did you think about it? Did you agree with it, encourage it, wish it didn't happen?
Do what you want to do.
I'm sorry?
People are free to do what they wanted to do.
Okay. Could you put up, clerk, please, COM 50851.
Remember, these people haven't been able to sleep for 10 days.
Can you try starting it again now, please?
It's kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. Remember, these people haven't been able to sleep for 10 days. Okay? It's kind of funny, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. It's pretty hilarious.
That you?
Of course.
And that's what you thought, that it was hilarious that people couldn't sleep?
I look at it now and I'm like, no, it wasn't funny. But if you know my persona and my character and the way I show myself, I laugh all the time. Life's a joke, laugh it off. It's kind of one of my biggest mottos. And I tend to laugh when I'm nervous. But at that point, it was kind of, it was funny. You see, we've been locked down for 2 years, and people are complaining that they heard horns for 10 days. Do you remember what we went through for the last 2 years? What's a little bit of horns for 10 days?
And did you make any statements on social media to the effect that you wanted to form a new government and that you and the truckers would take power?
No.
And did you make any statements that in a video that we will be the new government, we will just take power and share it together?
Say that again?
We will be the new government, we will just take power and share it together.
You have a video that I can
Don't
reference?
have a video, no. I'm asking you if you,
No.
you said that on a video.
I hate politics. I hate government. So why would I want to be the new government?
Yeah, I'd like to show you now a compilation of some of your videos.
Oh, I'm
that
ready
was
for this one.
Produced by the,
Anti-Hate Canada and edited by a $45 million contract that Trudeau and his Liberal government paid for to do this. It has been played over and over and over.
well, I don't think you've seen this compilation. It
Oh.
was produced by the Ontario, or the Ottawa Police Service. It's OPS 407967. And can you please start it and stop it after the first video?
Trudeau, someone's gonna make you catch a bullet one day. To the rest of this government, someone's gonna fucking do yous in. You sons of bitches. The only way.
I know this video like there's no tomorrow.
And what do you have to say?
Edited and spliced and fit to make the media their narrative, to show it in a negative context. So when you hear that, I had just got kicked out of the airport. I got denied my flight because I wasn't vaccinated. After being told that I had been allowed to fly, I had a 72-hour window. And there's a video before this, like, this is so ridiculous. Take 10-second clips and characterize somebody by it. But I'm waiting to defend myself on this one. And what I stated in this, and I never said, you're going to get shot. Never said that. I said, you're going to catch a bullet. Because as we know, mental health is a big thing in Canada. It's kind of limelighted. You have mental health issues. One day somebody's going to have a breakdown. And if you push people too far, especially denying them their flight, you never know who you're going to get. And that person might have a mental breakdown. And what they're doing with their restrictions and these mandates, which are not laws, they're going to get that wrong person. And I said that because you're lucky it was me that day, because I would have never acted on that. But if it had been somebody else, and there's a lot of people that are upset, lost a lot, and don't give a crap.
Yeah.
They're going to have a mental breakdown.
Now, that was only a clip from the video.
Yep.
Can you put up COM 50898? And this is a transcript that was prepared of the full video.
I want to say, I just like to give you a little bit of brief description to this. You ever get in an argument with your parents? You get mad and you say things you don't wish you said, like you regret saying that. That's one of my moments. Yeah, it was inappropriate. Yeah, I should never have said it, but it was said.
Okay. Can you put up the document, please? And you'll see there's the part that we saw. The only way that I'm going to say it out loud, the only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets.
No, you're okay. So this one, someone's going to make you catch a bullet one day. That's one video. What you've done is you've put another video in there and said this part, and this part needs some major clarity. Okay, because it's been edited and fit to make the narrative out like I'm some kind of loony and radical. But what it was is...
Can I just stop you for a second? I want to just go through this whole statement, and then I'll let you speak to it. If we go down to the next paragraph, you might want to change your name to Ishmael or drop a bunch of chains down the stairs and call yourself Chong Ching Ching Chang. Now you want to say the Indian culture and everything, the natives' culture is a disgrace. It is 100%. Every person who was born here in Canada and North America, you are indigenous. People don't realize that. If you were born of the land, you are indigenous of the land. It's called depopulation of the Caucasian race or the Anglo-Saxon. And that's what the goal is to depopulate the Anglo-Saxon race because they are ones with the strongest bloodlines. They are ones with the strongest bloodlines. They are one with the strongest bloodlines. And then going down to the bottom, I think I'm going to have a big gathering at my house, and I'm going to film it. You're right, cops will get shot. Now, did you make a video to that effect?
Nope. No, can we go down so I can reference each sentence in this? Because I've been dying to get this out.
Did you make any of those statements?
Can we go down so I can defend each
but first answer
line?
my
You
question.
have 4, if not 5, videos that you've transcribed. One from over 4 years ago. That's part of this. And they're taking out of context.
Okay, I just asked
So I need
you,
to defend myself on that.
I'll let you talk, but just let me answer my question. Are those statements that you made?
Those are statements that were said in a long line of online podcast that go along with the evidence or go along with the topic that I was discussing.
No.
All right. Can we scroll down, please? Thank you. No, sorry, up. I apologize. A little bit more, please. Right to the very beginning, number 1. All right, so we say, Trudeau, someone's going to make you catch a bullet one day. That's the airport incident. That's where I was mad. I was denied my flight after being told I can fly, and I got stuck in Toronto Pearson International Airport, of which I'm absolutely regret saying that. I was mad. The next one, the only way that I'm going to say it out loud, the only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets. That is taken directly out of context, 100%.
What was the context?
The context was, if you are Canadian and you want to exercise your political right to stand up and be freedom of protest and peaceful assembly, would you take it? Or are you going to allow it to become bullets? Because if we keep going on the way we're going to be going on, that's the possible end game. It's a prediction.
And you say at the end, a massive revolution on a huge scale.
If not, yeah. Things are wrong in this country. Massively wrong.
And what about...
And this is me just interpreting what I'm seeing from an outside person, saying this is what's going to happen if you do not make these governments be held accountable for what they're doing.
And the next...
Then we go down. You might want to change your name to Ishmael, drop a bunch of chains down the stairs. It's actually change, not chains. And I said that because there was a CSIS document put out, I believe it was in 2019, about the foreign economy, the foreign influence in our Canadian economy of a foreign government purchasing all our resources. And the CSIS guys were telling you, hey, something's wrong. Like, you guys know that we're being bought out. You know, we're being infiltrated. Our economy is being destroyed. And the comment was because it was China, Chinese influence.
And the next paragraph?
The next paragraph was, and I had to say this in my court, they use this in my bail hearing. The Indian culture and everything, the natives' culture is a disgrace. Never once was said. It was said, what I said prior to that is what the Canadian government has done to the First Nations people is an absolute disgrace. And the way they're treated and the way they're ridiculed and not given the appropriate means to even have water, it's a disgrace.
And the next paragraph?
And the next paragraph, the depopulation, oh, this is a good one. So there was a time, the president of Iran, Mahmoud Ahmadinejad was his name, walked into a meeting at the United Nations with a bunch of binders, and he dropped them down on the podium, and he started bringing out everything who was involved in 9/11, and people started scattering out, and his words were, we're not going to kill you with bullets, we're not going to blow you up with bombs, we're going to breed you out, we're going to get rid of the Anglo-Saxon race because you think you're the proudest bloodline, and we are going to breed you out. We are going to flood your borders with immigrants. We are going to infiltrate your education, infiltrate your politics. Like, you got to understand, like, the things that were going on around the world, I'm seeing these, I bring them up, I show the video, and that's what it is.
Okay, can we go back to OPS 407967? And can you pick it up where you left off after the first video?
Trudeau, say, this guy fucking do you in. You sons of bitches.
The only way that, and I'm going to say it out loud, the only way that this is going to be solved is with bullets. And yeah, I said it. That's the only way something's going to happen. A massive revolution on a huge scale. You might want to change your name to Ishmael, or drop a bunch of change down the stairs and call yourself Chong Ching Ching Chang. Now you want to say, oh, the Indians' culture and everything. The natives' culture is a disgrace. It is 100%. Every person who was born here in Canada, in North America, you are indigenous. People don't realize that. If you were born of the land, you are indigenous of the land. It's called depopulation of the Caucasian race, or the Anglo-Saxon. And that's what the goal is to depopulate the Anglo-Saxon race. Because they are the ones with the strongest bloodlines. They are the ones with the strongest bloodlines. They are the ones with the strongest bloodlines. And we'll leave it at that, because then we get into a whole different topic. But now, this year alone, I think I'm going to have a big gathering at my house just for that. And I'm going to film it. Yeah, right? Cops will get shot.
Very well edited. Congrats.
Those are my questions.
Thank you.
Okay. First, for cross-examination, the Convoy organizers, please.
Good evening, Mr. Commissioner. Bathsheba Vandenberg, Council for Freedom Corps and protesters. We have no questions for Mr. King. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, the Ottawa Residents Coalition, please.
Mr. King. My name is Paul Champ. I'm a lawyer for the Ottawa Coalition of Residents and Businesses of Ottawa.
Well, you guys are the guys that got my bank account. That's still frozen after 9 months.
That's all. Just give us a call. Now,
You took my kids' college tuition. I hope you're proud.
we're talking about the funds in your Alberta Treasury branch.
Oh, you're very familiar with my bank account.
Yeah, there you go. How many
I hope you're
e-transfers?
proud.
How many e-transfers did you get into that account, Mr. King?
All of them.
So people across Canada are donating for your children's child's education fund. That's what it was for?
No.
Okay. You were raising money for the Freedom Convoy trip. Is that right?
For myself.
Okay.
If people wanted to donate, they could.
Okay. And they donated up to $100,000 to you. Is that right?
No.
How much?
I have no idea.
You don't know. So you don't know if it was $100,000 or not.
I have no idea. You got my bank accounts frozen.
Okay. Well, you can check the court records. You raised $100,000 for yourself.
Wow. Then give me it back so I can live.
No. I will ask you to be removed if this doesn't stop. You've been very good so far. Please.
I'm sorry, sir.
And I don't think you're helping. Just answer the questions and we'll get through
Sure.
this properly. This isn't supposed to be a show. It's supposed to be a questions and answers, and I realize you feel quite
I apologize.
strongly about things.
I apologize. I did take that wrong. I apologize,
Mr. King,
Mr. Champ.
Yeah, myself as well. Mr. King, I'd just like to ask you about the 2019 United Re-Roll convoy. You've told us that was a successful protest. Is that right?
100%, yeah.
It was. You organized a number of people, you and others, Mr. Carrot and others. You got a number of trucks together, including semi-truck trailers. You came across Canada. You got a lot of media all the way across Canada, came through Ottawa and generated a lot of attention to your issues, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah, a successful protest.
100%.
Yeah, then the
Even
people-
with Mr. Trudeau's involvement in the Freedom of Information, where he sent 2,000 anti-protesters to come slash our tires.
Right. So for the Freedom Convoy protest in February, why did you stay for so long?
Why?
Yeah.
Because I exercised my democratic right to freedom of peaceful protest and a freedom of assembly. Because I'm Canadian and I have that democratic right.
Now, Mr. King, where did you said you stayed at the Holiday Inn, is that right?
Yeah, for like 4 or 5 days, yeah.
And then where did you stay?
In Gatineau.
Okay, that's what we had heard Ms. Belton testified. She thought you were staying in a hotel out of downtown. I guess the horns were getting to you downtown. Is that why you changed hotels?
Not at all.
Why did you change hotels?
Because your community decided to pull the pin on lodgings and hotels for people, and we were told they were no longer going to allow us to rent a room because the community had basically told the hotels, if you support these guys and give them a room, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. And that's from the manager of the Holiday Inn who told me that. So I'm sorry, Mr. King, we can't give you another room. I said, that's fine, I get it, no problem. It sucks to be you guys because you're making a killing, and the money that you guys are generating from all of us being here is probably the best for you guys to recoup those funds after 2 years of being shut down.
Why didn't you go to the Ark Hotel or the Sheraton Hotel or the Swiss Hotel? There was lots of rooms there.
I didn't need a hotel.
Okay. And who paid for your hotels while you were in Ottawa, Mr. King?
Me?
Pardon me?
Me?
With the donations that you got to make the trip.
Sure.
Okay.
Are you speculating that, or?
No, I'm asking you.
Oh.
You're the person I'm asking.
It
the
didn't sound
question.
like a question, that's all.
It was a question. And
Okay.
are you answering yes? That's how you...
Me, I paid for it. Sorry.
You paid for it, so I apologize. You got donations to come here, and it's with those donations that you paid for the hotel rooms. Is that
Yes.
right? And there's other people who were supporters of you who you also assisted in getting funds to pay for their hotel rooms. So like in fairness, you were raising money to help others as well, correct?
When I got money donated, I gave it away.
Absolutely. And you were also working with Mr. Barber and the others about getting funds for other people that you helped bring to Ottawa, is that right?
And what do you mean, like funds?
Like to pay for hotels for other people who were supporters.
Anybody who needed help or anybody who needed money, I was open. If
But
you needed
you-
money, come talk to me. I would help you.
And you would sometimes connect with Mr. Barber and Ms. Leach to see if they could assist funds as well. Is that right?
I barely saw Tamara and Chris.
You communicated regularly with Mr. Barber throughout.
Maybe text messages, yeah.
Yeah, through text.
I never saw them.
Okay.
They were
Because-
busy, man. These guys were like, wow. What they had going on over there, you can have it.
Did Mr. Barber, Ms. Leach ever talk to you about trying to get the truckers to lay off their horns?
They asked me to see what I can do, and I said, yeah, I'll do what I can. And that's when I put the post out. I believe we had been threatened with some injunction or something. I still wasn't very familiar at the time, but they said, do what you can to get the guys to stop, and I did. I put out a post. I said, stop honking horns. And actually, as part of my evidence package, that there's 2 videos. One of the videos actually has me on the street on that evening on Wellington stating, listen, you wouldn't know, you have no idea where I'm at. And it was the most quietest, most eerie place because there was no more horns anymore.
Now, with respect to the slow roll around the airport or to the airport, I take it that was just it was your board. We heard that, but it was also a little bit of a message to the city of Ottawa. Is that right? That the vehicles could move and move to other areas of the city if provoked.
No.
Was it? Why did you choose that day? Was it because the police had just done the raid at Coventry?
No.
You made it down to Coventry a number of times. Is that right?
Every day.
Every day. You were a popular figure there, I gather.
I wouldn't say popular. That's where I went and ate breakfast.
And how you were there often? Do you know where the fuel was coming from into Coventry?
From grateful patriots and Canadian citizens that were donating it.
Sure, but can you give us any specific names of those grateful patriots?
Joe Smith, number 1. I have no idea.
You have no idea, or you don't want to answer?
I don't remember names. I meet people all day long, constantly. I don't remember names. If you have a specific person in particular that you want to give me his name, and I'll let you know if I know him or if I conversed with them. Are you talking to guys that got arrested after they were told they weren't going to be arrested, that were running fuel?
You knew some of those guys?
Yeah.
You knew some of those guys personally?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were very upset.
Well, look what you did. You told them we're not going to arrest. Not you, sorry. They were told they weren't going to get arrested.
Right.
And then they left and they got pulled over down the road and got arrested or got charged, got a fine for whatever. And I remember that night because the OPS came in and tried to flex or whatever. And because these guys didn't know what was going on, they asked me to come down. And I said, I'm not coming down there. Not a chance. But I went down the next morning to make sure the calm, cool heads had prevailed. And on that morning, that's when the RCMP, Special Response Task Force, they were staying at the Marriott. And they came down, one of the officers came down to me, said, Pat, you're not hot mic'd or anything. And I said, no, I don't got nothing on. And, why? Who are you? And he introduced himself and he said, I just want you to know about last night. That wasn't our call. And I want you to know that the RCMP, we met with legal and lawyers and that we are not going to do this to you guys because they can't give us a justification of why we should be evicting you or arresting people. So I'm sorry for what happened last night. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, we fought with lawyers to give us justification of why we should be arresting these people. They couldn't give us a clear answer. So we're leaving. I said, you're leaving? He says, yeah, we're going to Windsor. And they went to Windsor to break down whatever was happening at the border.
So you were in communication with people who were involved at the Windsor blockade?
No.
So you talked to people who
The
went
police
to Windsor.
officer was leaving.
Oh, the police,
their
the OPP.
team
So they're
they were leaving Ottawa
right.
because the lawyers couldn't give them a justification of arresting people.
Right.
And they said, we're not going to break the law.
Right.
So whoever is in charge of them sent them to Windsor.
So the people who were got tickets that night and arrested were upset. You were upset by that, and that's one of the reasons why you organized the slow roll around the airport of Ottawa. Is that
Not
right?
at all. No.
What did you do because you were upset about that?
I went and made sure everybody was calm and cool and everybody was understanding, like these guys got a job to do. Understand that, yeah, that was rude, that was ignorant, and just be more cautious when you're dealing with the police.
Now, Mr. King, you obviously could not and did not know everyone who was in Ottawa during that protest, right?
No, there was millions of people,
Well, thousands anyway, for sure.
hundreds of thousands. Let's not undersell it. There was a lot of people here.
We'll agree to disagree. There weren't hundreds of thousands, but
All right.
it was a bit of a dangerous situation with all those people downtown. Would you agree?
Dangerous in what way?
Well, dangerous. You don't know what people might have in their trucks. You don't know what they might do. They're very upset. They're very angry. Was that a dangerous situation for downtown?
Not at all.
Okay.
I met the most
Well,
loving, most caring, most loving people, Canadian citizens. Everywhere you went, you were getting hugs, you were getting handshakes, and
Well, then why
nobody was violent.
Why did you need security then yourself? It was so dangerous that you yourself needed security. Isn't that right?
Because the liberal left trolls were threatening my life.
Okay, so that was dangerous, right?
For me.
Just for you. You're the only person in downtown Ottawa who's at risk. Is that right?
Actually, I was the most highly protected person in Ottawa because I think they had delegated 8 police officers to follow me around everywhere.
So, Mr. King, we've heard evidence that many federal elected officials, the mayor of Ottawa, had received death threats. We've heard evidence that someone was actually arrested with firearms who was coming to Ottawa, who had been making threats about
Do you have a
Mayor
record
Watson,
of that? Do you have a...
who had been, I'm asking the questions, Mr. King.
Sorry.
So, but you would agree with me that it was probably a dangerous situation for elected officials in Ottawa?
It was a dangerous place for us. People were dropping marbles from high rises. They were throwing eggs. Citizens of Ottawa were threatening to run us over.
Mr. King, you yourself said that someone who was maybe stressed out because of lockdowns and so forth might be compelled to shoot Mr. Trudeau.
was
So
months
you
before
understood
the
and recognized that that was a risk, right?
That was months before the convoy.
Also, but everyone was they were all settled down by the time the convoy came and there was no threats to anyone.
I've never seen anything more loving and peaceful in my life.
Right.
It was Woodstock.
So the only person who's at risk in Ottawa was Pat King. All the other threats to anyone else in Ottawa were all fake. Is that right?
I don't know. I can't speak on those. You know, my lawyer has been given death threats and bomb scares because she represents me. Do you know that my friends their children have been threatened from Ottawa? Do you know that, and I hate to say this, but this town is full of a bunch of people who really don't like people who speak out.
I disagree, Mr. King. Ottawa has dozens of large protests, many much larger than the one that you organized every single year.
I've been here for them.
I'm not sure that was
well.
a question. So
Well, Mr. Commissioner,
Can I just
I'll
ask?
just note, Mr. Commissioner, I'll just note for the record that the people of Ottawa got one morning in this proceeding. We've had a week of all of these convoy organizers given a full platform to say whatever they want. The people in Ottawa respect the right to protest, and these folks are getting their time to say everything they want from the...
Can I say one? Sorry.
I'm sorry. Just I'm going to stop this. You'll get. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, please.
Could you ask have him? I'm going to take a break while you remove the person.
I'm sorry, sir.
The commission is in recess. La commission est levée.
This is a freaking wrestling match here. That's what they're
What is even going on right now? What just happened?
Oh my God!
Who is Rouleau the cup removing?
No, it's like when my dad used to take us to wrestling in Montreal. We used to go to the stadium. It's the same, man. It's wrestling, dude. This is amazing. This is Canada.
Right?
This is chumps, man.
Well, we knew it because, Pat King came out to the NWO theme music, from WWE.
Oh
so
man, this is.
We knew it.
Oh, there's nothing like it, man. Pat's the only dude out there. I'm sorry, tell him. Really, just going. Tell him the truth, man. Everybody else, optics. Oh my God, I'm sick of them. Just shut up. Just shut up already. Holy crap. He comes on and this is it. And they show that transcript of this edited video. And that
was ridiculous. How is that even admissible? How is out of context, quotes, clips, how is that even admissible? This is crazy.
It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, and it shows the absolute sickness of these people. They're sick. And let me show you something. I got all Pat King's videos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to upload all of them, all right? Because you guys need to see it. I don't have the time. We're here doing this. We need you to help us do this, okay? What I'm going to ask you to do is, here it is, okay? I'm going to upload all these videos. You see that right there? Let me see here. I don't know if you can see this.
Everything they made Pat King take off of social media.
Exactly, because what they've done is they paid Anti-Hate to go through all these and then to splice these seconds together. I'm going to throw them all up, just like throw them on their freaking website, or I'll zip it all up, throw it all up, and then you download that and go through it because I just don't have the time. There's so much here. Plus, we're covering all this stuff. And you guys are good at this, okay? So the one there, the native one, where he's got the native background, the bullet one, I'm sure it's in here. And if we can find that, then from there, get the rest of the context, because they made him delete all this. This is exactly what they're doing. That was a really nasty, nasty little trick they did there. And then they put the transcript together, and he goes, let me just read it, and then you can refute it. What is this? What is this nonsense they're doing? What is this absolute nonsense they're doing? Explain that one to me. And I knew when this was going down, right? When this guy got arrested, I knew this was going to be the next step. We've seen that happen to everybody. They delete everybody's social media. And then after that, they take out the clips because they download it first. They know what's coming. They get their anti-hate. They pay for all kinds of nerds to go out and do all this work, get all that done, and sit there and rub their hands together and plot your destruction. That's what they do. They have no problem using every dirty trick in the book. All right, but you know what? On our side over here, we got a little bit of know-how, and we got a lot of people. And that's the thing. We're not going to just let go and let them do all this kind of nonsense. Pat was fire, man. And that chump clip, I got to edit that. I got to throw that up. There is so much.
Yeah.
That
was wild.
It was the best, man. It was the best. He's not afraid at all. And all these people threw him under the bus. All the rest, so-called the elite group, threw him under the bus. And he's standing there alone. I'm sorry, man. You never throw people under the bus like that. You never do that at all. Totally wrong. Absolutely wrong. King of social media.
That was
man.
wild. That was wild with Trump. And the lawyer before that was asking him questions, he tried to make a big deal because Pat King laughed at a joke, and he was like, "You laughed? You thought this was funny that people had to stay up because of the honking?" And he's like, "Yeah, it was kind of funny." And they're trying to persecute this man because he laughed. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, absolutely, man. This is called locked out of all social media.
Look, that same day, they stole my car from me. They stole my property. I wasn't even driving. My friend was driving my car for me. So tomorrow I have a court date.
See what I mean? We got all this stuff. You go through all this information. There's so much here. All right, and I'll throw it in a zip, just like we did for the exhibits, and put it all up there, and then you go at it. You just go at it, download it, save it. They want it. This is what they're doing. They're freaking trying to unperson us and use this nonsense. Unperson us and clip everything together and destroy us. And they think we're such fools that we're going to allow it to be happened. I'm not allowing this to be happened, man. Sorry, I'm getting really annoyed, man. Where can we view it? Right now, it's on my hard drive, Maggie. I'm going to have to download. I'm going to put it all up in a zip file, all right? And then I'll upload it. That's what I'll do. Justin says, can I post my private server so we in the chat can organize to distribute the workload? Yeah, we need to do that. Listen, I got a Telegram going on, War Campaign chat. All right, here, get in there. And let me drop the link, actually. Hold on a second here. And then organize, set up a room, whatever. Okay, whoever's interested, you got the time. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's the bottom line. Here we go. There you go. That's the War Campaign chat on Telegram. And then from there, because there's no censorship and all the rest, right off Telegram, it's just Russian. We don't have to worry about nothing, right? And then from there, let's organize some rooms, whatever. You can branch off, meet each other, and then from there, set that up. And whatever help you need from us, you know, to promote or whatever, we'll do it, okay? Because we just want to get that going. That's what I mean. We need that community organization, disparate, many groups, chaotic, and all working, you know, in unison at the same time, like a great machine, like one of those old mechanical watches. Everything precise. Unordered, the great tapestry mystery of life. Let me see here. We got Kim's tripping. My heart is hurting for him. They want him gone. Let me see if they've come back over here. I don't know what's going on in that room.
Yeah, that was Rouleau was not happy. Whatever was happening.
You know what? I got my buddy actually. Let me call him. He's over there. Let me call him up right now, Pan. 1 second here.
Whoa, I don't know. Whoa, is that even legal? Is he in the courtroom? Whoa.
Oh, hold on. They're just coming back in. You hear that?
Are there the mutterings of freedom?
the mutterings of an inquiry. I don't know why they put the audio first before they put the video. It's so weird with
Order allowed.
Here we go.
The commission is reconvened. La commission reprend.
Okay. It's an unfortunate event, but if we can now get back and complete today's proceedings. Next is the Ottawa Police Service.
The Ottawa Police Service has no questions. Thanks very much, Commissioner.
Okay, the Ontario Provincial Police.
The OPP has no questions. Thank you, Commissioner.
Counsel for former Chief Slowly.
We don't have any questions. Thanks.
The Government of Canada.
Thank you, Commissioner. Mr. King, my name is Kathleen Tanner, and I'm counsel for the Government of Canada. I just have one short area of questions based on a video that had been played earlier for you. And it was a video that I believe had been recorded on February 12th after some information had come through about some pamphlets or some letters that had passed around to the drivers. And you had made a video recording telling other drivers that it was a lie, that it was fake news, to hold the ground, stand the line. And later on in that video, and if you'd like, we could bring it up or we could just walk through it. I understand that you referenced the information that's at stake there is a letter which mentions Miss Leach's name. And later on in that video, you mentioned that Miss Leach would never do something like this, and you knew her well, and you had good communications, and so this wasn't going to be something coming from her. So my question is, did you have any meetings with the City of Ottawa while you were in Ottawa?
No, I did not.
And were you aware of any meetings that Miss Leach or other representatives of the convoy may have had with anybody from Ottawa?
No, I tended to stay away from that.
And prior to releasing this video, did you make any attempts to reach out to Miss Leach to confirm whether or not this letter may or may not be accurate?
I may or may have, and I believe that we were all kind of confused. We didn't know if it was legitimate. So there was the initial, this is not a true statement, to they vetted the document, and then we rechanged their statement and said, okay.
So I guess my question is, and then earlier when you were speaking to my friend from Commission Counsel, you had said you were uncertain about the truthfulness of that document, and that's why you had released the video.
Right, because I would assume that if these people are going to put these letters out and that they're coming from a delegated person that has like a high position, there would be a name or a signature or an emblem representing who it's from. And from my knowledge, we didn't know where it came from.
So I guess that's my question is it a pattern for you to release videos like this without first confirming the authenticity of the information before
I had a
it?
habit of that. I would act without knowledge. But there is an absolute disconnect between myself and their rooms that they had. And I acted alone.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you, and thank you, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. Next is the CCLA.
Good evening, Commissioner and Mr. King. My name's Eva Krajewska on behalf of the Canadian Civil Liberties Association, and I don't have any questions for Mr. King. Thank you.
Thank you. Now the Democracy Fund or Citizens for Freedom.
Mr. Commissioner, Antoine Dailly for Citizens for Freedom. No questions for this witness. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And I apologize, I've forgotten your name, counsel for Mr. King. Any questions? Anything that concerns you about the documentation or want to put to your client?
Thank you. No, Natasha Calvino for Mr. King. I don't have any questions for the commission.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot your name, so I apologize for that. Okay, any re-examination? Nope. Okay, well, that completes your evidence, Mr. King, and you're free to go.
Can I ask for one thing? There's some evidence that I had given to the commission that needed to be brought out, that I would have appreciated that it got to the public and they got to see it.
I think that should have been done when, I think, at the end of the examination. Now, I'm not sure at this point if there's something in particular you want to say, that, of course, go ahead, because it's, despite what some may say, we're just trying to get at the bottom of all of this.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to show the Canadian citizens in the light that they need to be shown, and how caring and compassionate towards the city of Ottawa we actually were, and how we looked. These videos will, like I said, what I've been shown as racist and all this stuff, and taken out of context. Nobody ever showed the positives. And that was the police officers who were right with us saying thank you. There was residents that were saying thank you. The community in a whole, the community of Ottawa that came together and respected us and understood that we hear you. I have nothing against the city of Ottawa. It's not who we're here to talk to. I understand that people were, I guess, felt that we were here targeting them. That wasn't the case. And to Ottawanians, to people who live here, to the city council members, to the police and all that, we weren't bad people, sir. We were Canadian citizens we've shown Canadian pride, and we're nice, and we're good people. We're good people.
Well, if it's any consolation, there's been evidence about the various convoy participants on all these issues. There are more witnesses coming. We're just trying to put out a full picture. I'll weigh it all at the end, and the evidence will be there, and I'm going to make some findings and prepare a report.
Thank you very much.
But there are others coming. So with that, I will adjourn for the day. We have a big day tomorrow. There will be, I think it'll go a little later even than most. I hope we'll have no difficulties tomorrow, because that just slows up the process. But we'll be back tomorrow at 9:30.
The commission is adjourned. La commission est adjournée.